today's episode, we review the upcoming Star Wars book Legacy, Rey, Leia, after the Last Jedi. Let's talk about it. It's great, non-spoiler for the most part today. So if you guys are ready, I'm not ready. Let's talk Star Wars and start the transmission.
Rebellions are built on hope.
And welcome to another special review episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Alberto Calderon, and thank you for joining us on this Star Wars Saturday. A little bit later than usual, but it's fine. It's summer. We're still on a break, our longest hiatus ever. But the new Star Wars book's coming out. I've got a chance to get some review copies, so we're gonna be doing some reviews in the coming weeks. But before we get to all that, thank you guys for being here. It's always a pleasure when I get to talk to you guys, talk about Star Wars. So thank you for joining us today. And San Diego Comic Con is right around the corner. There's some publishing news, kind of what's gonna happen. We'll talk about it real quick before we actually start. But before we get to all that, if you're watching our show for the first time, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new episodes or surprise episodes when they drop. Like this video, and if you're listening later on the audio podcast, thank you. Leave us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our channel also, and spread the word. Leave your comments down below what you're hoping to see, what you're hoping to read, I should say, from Star Wars Legacy, this new Star Wars book we're going to be talking about today. And if you already read it, what were some of your favorite scenes, quotes, character interactions, surprises? Because there's a lot. We'll try to stay away from them because it's mostly non-spoilers, but we will get there. All right, let me say hi to our friend Dale Skywalker. Hello there, Dale. How you doing, Dale? It's been a while. I know we've been off, but thank you for being here. I haven't seen, I'm going to watch it later. Thank you for reminding me. The Force Center interview with the author of Legacy, Madeleine Roux. No, I haven't watched it yet. I will watch it soon, hopefully. I tried to get there to interview her. I didn't get the chance this time, but it was fine. We'll see it. We'll talk about the book. And yeah, later is nice. You're awake. I'm awake for now. So thank you for being here, Dale. As always, anyone else watching out there, thank you for being here. Let us know. Jump in the chat. Say hi. And we'll keep going. But before we go, it's my birthday just passed a couple of days ago on Thursday. So I got, as always, some cool Star Wars things. I posted most of them. Got this cool Han Solo figure that I was able to build. Kind of New Hope with the little helmet and the Stormtrooper outfit. I gotta learn how to. There we go. That's the helmet for now. Someday I'll learn how to pose figures. I can just do something else. But I'm sorry for the noise I'm making. But that's pretty nice. You can change the head display and put the helmet. I'll probably do that afterwards. It's not Lego. It's a pretty easy build. Blockies. My wife got this. There's a couple of Star Wars one. You see all the different poses and blasters and things that you can have on it. So I'll probably get some more afterwards, but pretty cool. All right, so before we start, actually, let's go ahead. Let's start with some, if I can get this is not what I wanted. It's putting everything. Okay, I guess we'll go this way. This way is fine. So next week, we'll be back next week also. We will do our Eyes Like Stars, which is the next Star Wars book that's coming out in a couple of weeks. That's more the YA romance, official romance book. We'll do that next week because I think it comes out the 21st, which is just coming up this Tuesday. So once the book is out, we'll do our official review of it. But right now, Legacy. But what I was talking about before we started, I guess as we were going on, San Diego Comic Con is happening in a couple of days. I believe Thursday, maybe the 24th, is the Star Wars publishing panels. There's like three different panels that week for Star Wars, and already there's kind of, it's not a spoiler, I mean, a leak or anything. It's on Amazon already, it's listed on Amazon. Michael Siglain came out and said, no, this is part of the plan, this is kind of the push for it. It's a new book, a new Star Wars novel from Random House World, so it's most likely an adult novel called Twin Crossroads. This comes out, I didn't write it down, I want to say it's October, but I know it's this year. I'm pretty sure no, sorry, it's next year, 2027. So early, I'm gonna say March 2027. I might be wrong, but officially we'll learn by the end of next week. We'll know. Twin Crossroads. Hedging my bets that this is going to be a Luke and Leia novel. Maybe the time training as Jedi. It kind of comes right on the heels of Legacy, which is they go into it a little bit in how that time was, what Leia learned, what she couldn't learn. She didn't spend a lot of time training as a Jedi, and that affects this book we're gonna talk about today. So I would love if Twin Crossroads is that chapter in their life where the Skywalker twins are out training as Jedi, and then Leia has to kind of break her training because she's getting these feelings or these, I guess, revelations that if she stays on the Jedi path, she'll lose her son, she'll lose her family, and how that plays into it. So I'm hoping that's it. A lot of people are reading into this. It might be an Acolyte novel, maybe. We know there's a lot of twin talk in the Acolyte, a lot of twins, I should say. More Acolyte is always nice. We'll take it. With the way the Acolyte kind of ended, I'm not too confident that Twin Crossroads would be an Acolyte novel. But also we know that a lot of these books have been working on them for years, so who knows? Again, next week we'll find out. All right, before we jump, and now we can go into, oh, thank you, hon. Thank you for the birthday wishes, Dale. 46. Sorry, I'm putting that out there, but all right, so let's get on it. So if you guys are ready, let's talk Star Wars Legacy. Again, this will be a mostly non-spoilers of Star Wars Legacy, written by Madeleine Roux. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Thank you, as always, to Random House Worlds for the advanced review copy. I did get this book a little bit earlier. I would say about a month ago. I was able to read it. My written review is already on our website, Radio Rebellion Podcast, WordPress.com. You can read it there. Kind of reworded, so I didn't talk about the same thing that's written there. If you guys want to read it, that's also a non-spoiler review. Throughout the weeks, I'm sure we'll do some spoiler talks on it. There's a lot to spoil, a lot of big surprises. We'll stay away from those. Again, mostly non-spoilers. And the things that you might think are spoilers usually happen in the first couple of chapters. I will say the first 3 chapters. So I don't think it's that big of a reveal, the things we'll be talking about. Plus, one of the characters is in the cover, so it's not a surprise. Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is in the book. He shows up. He's in the cover. It's not a big surprise. He doesn't have that big of a role in terms of actually being there, but his presence kind of looms large, of course, with Leia and with Rey after The Last Jedi. So that presence is there, but his presence is felt in more than one way. So the first thing I'll say, and it's one of the things that I love about this book, is that it delivers on the promise of what the book was going to be. This was advertised as a Rey and Leia novel, Rey and Leia story after the events of The Last Jedi and before the rise of Skywalker, trying to find a way to fix the broken Skywalker legacy lightsaber and the Kyber crystal. That's exactly what this book is. I've mentioned before some of the Star Wars books I've read where kind of the way it's advertised or promoted online and some of the things I said before the book comes out, it's not really what the book is about, and that throws me off a little bit as I'm reading it. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. At the end of the day, they're great books. It's not just what I thought the books were going to be about. That's not the case here. They're on the cover, Leia and Rey with Kylo Ren right between them. We were told this is a story of those two characters after The Last Jedi, and this is exactly it. So if you love those two characters with Leia Organa, Rey, kind of at this point, is still Rey no one. The Skywalker name comes later. You should love this book. To me, those characters pop out of the page, I mean, out of the screen. They feel like the characters in that time period, how they should feel. And I'll go more into it as we kind of discuss it. No, let me move this a little bit. Well, this is what I wanted. Legacy is also a book about truths and acceptances. Kind of accepting that you cannot do everything on your own, accepting that asking for help is a good thing. You need help from other people, and accepting yourself despite any inner turmoil you might have. We know by the end of the Last Jedi, Rey is at that point where she has this connection with Kylo Ren, with Ben Solo. Join me, no, join me in the light, join me in the darkness. There's that battle there. Luke just told her, hey, you went straight to the dark. I've only seen this once before. I can't train you. So she has that kind of inner turmoil that, should I join this guy? Should I kind of follow this dark side, kind of not temptation, but this dark side that seems to be popping up? And then Leia's end, how can she help Rey kind of over this hurdle? Like, we'll talk more about that. She didn't finish her Jedi training. Rey needs a Jedi teacher. What can I do to help her kind of get to that extra point? But also kind of accepting where she is at this point for Leia. So, and some of the other characters also. So it's a great book. I recommend this 100%. Go get it. If you're a fan of Star Wars, especially those characters at this time period, I think most fans will enjoy it. So let's talk a little bit about this story. I already mentioned where this takes place. The Resistance is kind of trying to rebuild itself after the Battle of Crate. They're on this planet called Pakara. I thought there was a new planet, just doing some quick research. It shows up once. It was mentioned. I just forgot where it was. It's not a big story. It was mentioned Pakara. So they're on Pakara, this new planet. I'm going to say again, Madeleine did a great job because we do go to about 4 or 5 planets. The story takes place mostly on Tython. Well, there's some other planets that some of the characters visit. She does a great way in differentiating every planet, every location that you visit feels different, feels lived in. The people that live there, the creatures, the animals, the fauna, everything feels different. So she does a great way on differentiating every planet that they go. So Rey is studying the Jedi text, trying to figure out how to fix the lightsaber. The text there's steps on how to build your own lightsaber, how to fix them. So that part she's kind of got it covered. But she's trying to figure out how to fix the broken lightsaber crystal. Every time she tries to connect to the Force to fix the crystal, something happens, like her dark side or the power that she doesn't know how to control. I should say it's not her dark side, but that power that she still doesn't know how to control because she really hasn't gotten that much Jedi training, kind of takes over and she's doing more damage than good. And it kind of shows later when she's trying to force heal someone or some other people, some on the crystal. Every time she tries to give herself, it kind of takes over her and things don't go as planned. So she's doubting herself and trying to figure out how to fix this. This is where Leia, like I mentioned, she wants to help Rey kind of complete her Jedi training, but she feels ill prepared because she didn't finish her Jedi training under Luke. I think it's not even a year. It's a couple of months, I think, that Jedi training takes place when she kind of, hey, I need to stop. I need to be with my family and Ben Solo and Han, of course. So Leia at the same points, and I know we say, oh, she's a Jedi Master, she trained under Luke. She's still trying to figure out that because she didn't complete her Jedi training, didn't have a lot of Jedi training, so she doesn't know if she's the best person to help Rey kind of overcome the issues that she's facing and how to help her fix those crystals. Here comes C-3PO. Another thing that this book does great, that Madeleine does great as the author, is showing why C-3PO is so important once we get to Rise of Skywalker, why he's so integral to the story, why they keep him around. C-3PO has always been kind of the punchline of most droids, but he takes a big kind of chunk of the story in the sequel trilogy. He does the same here in this book, but it makes sense why they keep him around. So here he helps decipher some hidden message in the Jedi text. There's something that Rey can find, kind of figure it out, some cipher, whatever. And with all his whatever million forms of communication, he's able to go into his database and figure out what it says. Then that points them to Tython. And that's when, okay, that's where we need to go. There's a forge on Tython that's going to help me rebuild the crystal. That's what Rey believes. So they go. So again, and then they take C-3PO, and there's, through the story goes, it kind of helps out again. So like I mentioned before, the interaction between these two legacy characters, I'm already calling Rey a legacy character, but between these two beloved characters seems right for this time period. They barely, if you think about it, those Rey and Leia barely interacted in The Force Awakens. Just when at the end they cannot see each other, they hug, and then, okay, I'm gone to try to find Luke. And in The Last Jedi, they only interact at the end when she comes in, Rey comes in on the Millennium Falcon, rescues everyone from Crate, and they leave. So they really haven't had that time to kind of build that relationship. And you can see that in this book. They're not connecting. They haven't built that trust between one another. It takes multiple situations, struggles, and revelations for them to build that trust and have the kind of relationship that when we get to the Rise of Skywalker at the beginning, and Rey's training, she sees Leia, and by the end, why she chooses a Skywalker name, and people, oh, well, she only spent a little bit with Luke and a little bit with Leia. Here we see that relationship building to when we get to the end of Rise of Skywalker. It makes more sense why she's speaking the Skywalker surname for herself. So again, great job here by Madeleine Roux. All good Star Wars story needs a good old-fashioned villain, Imperial villain, and I have my First Order shirt. Kylo Ren is there. We're in the First Order time period. Legacy brings First Order officer Major Brilla Woolston home, which I think is a mention in a comic book, if I'm not mistaken, but this is the first time that we see her, and she's part of the actual story. This is kind of mostly, when I talk minor spoilers, this is mentioned in the first chapter, I think, or maybe the second one. She narrowly survives an assassination attempt on her life while stationed on Hayes Major. This is where I say, again, minor spoiler, because we're told pretty early on, this guy on my shirt, Kylo Ren, is the one that saves her. We don't see this happening because this assassination attempt happened before the story takes place. It gets mentioned throughout. But she's about to get murdered, basically, and Kylo Ren showed up unexpectedly. They weren't expecting him to be there that day and that place. And he's able to kind of thwart the assassination attempt and save her life. So now she's trying to figure out how all this works out, because she's put on a pedestal because she survived this assassination attempt, but then it's sent to all these different places and planets which she feels is kind of a demotion. So she doesn't know even where she fits inside the First Order at this point. She thought she might kind of rise the ranks. She's kind of staying at the same level. This, again, a book about truth and accepting kind of where you are and your fate in everything. So Brilla has her own journey, like I mentioned, separate from our heroes. She's looking for those responsible for the attack on her life. But we know that eventually, for all great Star Wars stories, even when you have characters on different parts of the galaxy, everything's kind of building to their meeting up. And that's where we, throughout the story, and that will go into spoilers, is how everything kind of connects. How Rey, Leia, on Tython, and the people they meet have to do with Brilla Woolston home, the people she's trying to find, and kind of that meetup at the end. And again, what effects will her survival have inside the ranks of the First Order and her standing on it, where she thinks she's moving up in ranks? And that's what she's always wanted. But every time she's being moved from place to place, she sees it at, I don't know what's going on. I need to figure this out. So let's talk about characters a little bit. And so characters, it's a story that's focused on two of the most beloved Star Wars characters. And it needs to live on the characterization. If Leia doesn't feel like Leia, and if Rey doesn't feel like Rey, this book doesn't work. It's pretty easy to mess it up. If you tell me, hey, Alberto, go write a book about Leia and Rey, I'm probably gonna mess it up. So Madeline had some big hurdles to jump. I think she cleared them pretty easily. To myself, those they feel like the characters that we see in the in the movies, especially again in The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. Uh, to me, they don't feel off. They feel like those characters. I've seen few reviews, maybe one or two, that it didn't click for them. That's fine. Everyone can feel their own way about this book. But to me, it worked. Uh, so put the reader at ease pretty quickly with Rey's and Leia's relationship. So again, don't be worried about that. Rey, again, right after The Last Jedi, she's stubborn. She feels the weight of the Jedi Order rests on her shoulders and her shoulders alone. She's the only Jedi left. Uh, no one taught her how to be a Jedi. There's no one present that can help her how to be a Jedi. And she's expected now to be the savior of the galaxy because she's a Jedi. What effect does that has on her as she tries to find a way to read, understand, decipher the Jedi text or the secrets in it, and then fix this lightsaber? And that's a huge burden. And again, this book knocks it out of the park, kind of giving that turmoil and how she's able to overcome those issues. She's hiding her secret. She's hiding the secret of her connection with Kylo Ren slash Ben Solo. Little hand touch. Everyone kind of went crazy when it happened. She wanted him to join him with the light. He wanted her to join him in darkness. Saber broke. He tries to kill everyone on Crate, and now she's hanging out with his mom. She really can't tell her, yeah, I have a connection with your son, but maybe it's for the darker side of him, and that might be affecting how I'm acting, trying to fix everything, plus the expectation everyone has on me. So she's hiding that. She hasn't told anyone. Her connection to the Force is undeniable, but she find it inside herself to control it when it becomes too much. Again, I mentioned it, staying away from what actually happens, but you can figure out when she taps into the Force and tries to put everything on it to fix the crystal or fix any problem that's going on. If she can't control that, again, because she hasn't been taught, how is that going to affect everything else when it becomes too much and when those visions and those memories come into her? She has visions, dreams, Force connections, whatever you want to call them, with Ben Solo, I guess Kylo Ren, or both, and with her darker side. Dark side Rey that we see in The Rise of Skywalker, she has those kind of visions come up when she's trying to meditate and do some other stuff. For Leia, very fun. She's writing her memoirs. She's helping, she's dictating to R2D2. This at the beginning of the book, she's trying to kind of dictate her memoirs, and as we go through the story, she mentions to R2, hey, kind of type this there, type that there. Again, this happens pretty early on, so not a real spoiler. So when I said that Leia also has to kind of deal with everything that's going on, she's been everything to everyone, right? She was a princess at one point. She was a rebel. She was a general, Jedi in training, wife to Han Solo, all these things. And none of it was simple. All of it came with struggle, some sort of frustration. Like, as a princess, her planet was blown up. As a rebel, she's the daughter of Vader. Training with Luke Skywalker to be a Jedi, she kind of gives it up. So she's at that point where she's also helping raise the one thing that she doesn't want to fail at, that she could not fail at. Everything else that has happened has led her to this moment. She's like, I might not be a Jedi, I might not have finished my Jedi training, but I can use whatever little I learned from Luke, plus all my experience being a princess, a rebel, a general, all that, and put it into helping Rey overcome the issues that she's facing, the obstacles that she's facing. Great. Again, great job depicting Leia in this time period. She's the voice of reason when tempers flare around the camp, being the resistance camp or the camp on Tython where they meet some other people there. She uses her Jedi training when needed and when it helps her, when she's able to tap into it. She's not afraid to tell the truth to a certain Force ghost that appears to her. This is a Jedi book. At this time period, we're gonna get Force ghosts. Uh, and again, even having all those experiences that I mentioned, Leia is not immune to her own troubled path, being the daughter of Vader, daughter of darkness. She's facing, it's part of her journey. She's facing these things. She also has visions. What if she had continued her training? Where would that have led? Would things be better, worse? Will the resistance be around? First Order? A lot of great kind of things. And yeah, Dale, you're right. Leia is the Swiss Army knife of Star Wars. I think that's a great description. She's great in it. Um, so, like I mentioned, Force Ghost. And here I'll stay away from mentioning which Force Ghost shows up. We have multiple Force Ghost scenes. Does this mean one Force Ghost appear multiple times to one person? That same Force Ghost appear multiple times to multiple people? Are there different Force Ghosts that have scenes with different people with the same guys? Maybe. Being a Star Wars Jedi story focused on two Jedi trying to figure out how to use the knowledge of the Force and the lightsaber of the Force to fix a broken kyber crystal of the Skywalker legacy lightsaber, there will be Force Ghosts. So I don't think that's a big spoiler. If I tell you who do they talk to and what they talk about, major spoiler. But there's one interaction when it happened, I'm like blown. Like, what is this person doing here talking to this person? What they're talking about? Over the top. Great. I want to see this. I don't want to say, oh, give me the live action version. Give me a drawing of it, a commission, a concept art of it. New characters. We already talked about Major Brina Wolstenholme. She's looking for the conspirators that trying to kill her. She finds out there's a traitor inside the First Order. So that's fun. This is not Hux at this point, but she's trying to figure out what's going on. Why single her out at that exact period? And how did this guy save me? Of all the other new characters, Gavrin Hilus, Gav, for the most part, is the one that gets the most time or the most pages. I love the relationship he has with Rey towards the end. He has a complicated relationship with his family, with the Jedi in general, and with Rey being the embodiment of the Jedi. The relationship goes through an entire arc. If the Reylo thing wasn't a thing, and we know if if the Rise of Skywalker hadn't happened yet, I would be shipping these two guys, these two characters, I should say, Gav and Rey. It's a lot of love-hate relationship at the beginning, and it builds up to a lot of respect from Gav towards Rey as a Jedi. So it was very cool. His family is part of the Church of the Force. They're on Tython. His family is when Rey and Leia get there. Chewbacca's there. R2D2, C-3PO, all of them go over there. So the Church of the Force has something to play in this book. They're trying to find their way inside a Jedi temple. He wants to reunite with his sister. That's a big part on it. And his sister has a great chapter in the book. I was rooting for her. So it's a great scene. Again, this is in Hylos Major and Hylos Minor, I think. So he knows. He went to school with Rose and Paige Tico. So that's kind of fun. There's a character of Mipka. It's one of these little kind of bad looking, I forgot the name of the creatures. This bad looking species that we've seen mostly on the books. Mipka is a great character. There's brief scenes with Poe, Finn, Rose, Connix is there, BB-8, like I mentioned, Chewbacca gets a few scenes. He's mostly in the Falcon helping fix it. R2D2's there with Leia for the most part. And again, C-3PO spends a lot of the time with Rey. Tython, as a character, was also part of it, especially the temple and the secrets it holds. Secrets that temple is keeping. Again, not going to spoilers. A Jedi temple inside Tython, which we know is a very important Jedi planet in the Star Wars universe. We've seen Luke there. We've seen Grogu. In The High Republic, they went over there. So Tython is very important as a Jedi world. So once they enter the temple, it's a lot of stuff that happens there. So it's great. A lot of trials and tests that Rey has to go through. And Leia, maybe. All right, so I think that's it for the most part. If I start going more into what happens, there's going to be a lot of spoilers. I'm going to finish with some quotes. If you guys follow me, you know I love my quotes in Star Wars books. And there's some great quotes in this one. So Rey has one that says, I'm supposed to make this right and carry on the legacy of an entire religion that nobody has bothered teaching me about. And this again, this happens pretty early on. Is when she's trying to figure out how to fix this. Why she's looking, oh, you're a Jedi, you're gonna save the galaxy. Well, no one taught me how to be a Jedi. How I'm gonna take all this legacy of the Jedi, this religion? I have no idea. So that's a great scene, a great quote from her as she's trying to grow as a person, as a Jedi inside the Resistance. Leia says, and I think this is for for life. You can take this to help you in everything. You won't be alone, but it will be lonely. She's trying to help Rey, saying, hey, I'll be there with you step by step. You won't be alone, but I can do this for you. I can only be next to you. So you won't be alone, but it would be lonely. As a Force Ghost has a great line, one of my favorites. Again, I'm not going to say who. They say, if there was one simple way to be a Jedi, none of us would fail, none of us would fall. Think about that what you will. Speculate who you think said that. But talking about Jedi and how much people blame the Jedi for a lot of things. People blame Yoda. People blame Mace Windu for Anakin's fall. People blame Anakin. People just say the Jedi take kids. It's all their fault. They should have done this. There's not a single way to be a Jedi. If it was that easy, none of us would fail. None of us would fall. I think that's great. There's a Jedi on the Jedi text. That's Jedi Bruce Boo, I think is their name. To heal in the light is to know sacrifice, which is a very important, it's a very Jedi kind of teaching. And another Jedi master, Lear Farseeker, says, there is more to the Jedi than the Force. There is kindness, there is compassion, there is love. All this is because I love the Jedi so much, and I really burns me when people blame them or try to cast them as the villain. So much about the Jedi that I love and the Jedi philosophy, and this is another one. Just not the use of the Force. It's kindness, there is compassion, there is love. All right, so again, if you love Rey, if you love Leia, I think this is a perfect book, especially this time period. You're kind of starving for more sequel trilogy stories. Go get this book. You guys are gonna enjoy it. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 probe droids. Really enjoy it. I think it's a great companion piece to kind of bloodline before, to kind of give you a little bit of what Leia is going through. Then you have this book here with Rey trying. Actually, before this, you have Resistance Reborn by Rebecca Ronhorst, which is a lot of Poe, Finn, and trying to rebuild the Resistance, getting the ships, getting the fleet, and all that. And Rey doesn't have a lot to do because she's stuck in the Falcon trying to fix the saber and fix the Falcon. And now you have this book, which is mostly about Rey and Leia trying to fix that part. So those 3 books kind of make this little kind of trilogy of themselves. And hopefully this new book that I mentioned at the beginning, Twin Crossroads, if it is the book that I think it might be, with with Leia and Luke training as Jedi, kind of builds a great momentum on the publishing side to those books. All right, again, thanks to Penguin Random House for the advance copy. This book comes out July 28th, so in about 2 weeks. And then there'll be a lot of spoilers out there, I'm sure. So if you're interested in reading it, pick it up. Stay away from spoilers for the most part. But I really, really recommend it. I think Madeleine Roux did a great job with those characters and with this story at this time period, which is a difficult one. It's not a lot of leeway. It's 1 year right there. We know what happened before. We know what happened after. But how to bridge those two, I think she did a great job. So, all right. With that, we'll call a day for our legacy mostly non-spoiler reviews like Video and everyone else that might be join us today in that. If you didn't get a chance to jump in, that's great. That's fine. Don't worry about it. If you're watching this later, again, put in the comments what you're hoping to get out of this book, what some of your favorite parts were, your favorite scenes, and what you're hoping for San Diego Comic Con in terms of Star Wars news. So we'll be back next week with our review of Star Wars Legacy, not Legacy, Star Wars Ice Like Stars, the first official Star Wars romance book. We'll talk about that. So, guys, stay safe, be safe, and may the Force be with you.